Bonjour YouTube, bienvenue sur cette rediff et bienvenue pour ce Koch Media Prime Time Event. Parle fort celle-là.
Number 2 is to take a deep dive into some of the games coming to that label. And finally, number 3 is to show you what the new label will be getting up to in the streaming world.
D'accord, donc elle a donné le sommaire mais j'ai rien compris. Ça commence bien.
Some of you guys are guys who I have looked up to and watched for many years. And speaking of people who I've looked up to for many years, I am so proud to introduce Jeff Keighley, who will be helping me co-host us.
Ah, Jeff Keighley qu'on a vu hier.
Jeff, how's it going?
À l'anglais, c'est compliqué.
So great to be here with you
Jeff
for
Keighley.
the first ever live stream from Prime Matter.
Tu m'étonnes, c'est un Summer Game Fest, donc oui.
To reveal the label to the world at the Summer Game Fest kickoff event, and wow, you've got a lot of games there in that sizzle, over a dozen games.
Pour ceux qui n'ont pas vu d'ailleurs la rediff, qui n'étaient pas là hier, vous avez la rediff sur YouTube. Du Summer Game Fest d'hier. Il y a eu plein de choses. Hein. Vous disiez, il y a eu du Death Stranding, il y a eu du Elden Ring. Là, je parle parce que c'est en anglais, je sais très bien que vous comprenez pas. Hein. Ouais, ça c'est quelques petites images qu'on a eues hier. Je laisse un peu le son. Oh, ça veut peut-être dire que du coup on va le revoir aujourd'hui. Je sais même plus ce que c'est ça comme jeu. Attendez, c'était quoi ? Oh non, je m'en souviens plus. Non, c'était... J'ai oublié. Bon, on va revoir du coup le nom du jeu au pire. Hein. C'est pas très grave.
Is that who you are?
My purpose makes me who I am.
Dites-moi d'ailleurs si le son est un petit peu fort ou pas. Que j'égalise bien. Parce qu'un coup le stream est ultra fort, un coup pas du tout. Je sais jamais. Je m'ambiance tellement sur la musique. C'est ça. Prime Matter. Voilà, on l'avait vu hier.
You just saw 12 games and counting. And that's just the start for Prime Matter. But before we get into these incredible games, what I like to call the juicy bits, I want to talk to you about what Prime Matter is and who we are. Prime Matter is the new premium gaming label of Koch Media.
Okay.
It dedicates itself to delivering a range of immersive and diverse games from amazing development talent all around the globe. It highlights the varied influences of global studios and their different approaches to game making. The new label will lead through creativity and expression, with games that enthrall players with larger-than-life storytelling, create incredible moments, and above all, they're fun. The team behind Prime Matter is a melting pot of incredible talent, led by seasoned industry veterans and complemented by a young, fresh, dynamic team of multicultural gaming experts. The team behind are gamers at heart, working with such a wide range of passionate developers producing games together by gamers for gamers. And that being said, for all you keen-eyed individuals out there, you would have seen that one game was actually missing in our 12-game lineup for Prime Matter during the video. That is a game that comes from the Embracer family itself. Jeff got to sit down with Todd Hollinshead and talk all about Painkiller.
C'est vrai que je comprends vite fait l'anglais. Hein. Ce serait compliqué sinon. Ouais, lui on l'a vu hier. Keep calm and respawn.
Maybe give us a few more details. I know.
Il est là le rôle que j'attendais depuis tout à l'heure.
Kind of a fresh project for the team at Saber.
Je suis dégueulasse à roter.
First of all, I love that you and Tim Willits are there, continuing to build out Saber. And Painkiller was a franchise. You and I are both OG. We remember was it probably 15 years ago at this point?
Yeah, it's been a while. You know, closer to 2 decades than 1.
My God. All right. Well, but it's one of those classic games. Let me ask you, from a Prime Matter perspective, you know, you've been in the industry like me all those years.
Allez, arrêtez de parler. Moi, je veux des trailers.
Là,
le premier qu'on a vu, on l'a déjà vu hier. Allez.
Well, you know, Painkiller, when I played it back in the early 2000s, this was a game that had, you know, it was dark, a little twisted, intense, cool guns. These are the things that, you know, kind of hit the nail on the head of what appeals to me in a video game, both as, you know, as a fan and then also as a publisher at Saber. So, you know, we're hoping to capture those same sort of elements and bring those into the new game.
Yeah, you know, you guys are certainly masters of doing shooters from all your time at id, and Painkiller, you know, does have a lot of that DNA of, you know, fast-paced action with a little bit of a twist to it, and you know, the fact you guys are working with Prime Matter is also exciting. You know, brand new publisher, brand new label. What do you think of the fact that they're doing this label, and you know, it's such a diverse lineup of companies?
Allez, arrêtez de parler là.
You know, I know you guys work with a lot of publishers, but it's pretty exciting to see a new label announced. That doesn't happen every day.
No, it doesn't. And, you know, I think that within the Embracer Group, you know, it's just a business that is growing. We've got great leadership at the top. And so Koch Media is, you know, wanting to expand their publishing. And I think that, you know, the name they chose, Prime Matter, sort of is, you know, it's sort of like the primordial soup of putting together stuff from nothing. So, yeah, you know, it kind of makes me think of this is what we do when we make video games. You know, you start with Pixel 0, and then at the end of the day, you make a game. So I feel like that, you know, that kind of resonates with hopefully the type of experiences that we're going to be providing, you know, not just within Prime Matter and working with them between Saber and our partnership, but, you know, across the Embracer Group as well.
Yeah, no, it sounds like they have a lot of games in development, but the fact that you are bringing back Painkiller is really exciting. And I know, you know, fans, of course, want to know a little bit about, you know, what's the game going to look, how's it going to play. Probably can't share a lot of details about it, but you're kind of in the early stages of development now on this?
Yeah, super early. And, you know, anything that I would share, I'd probably get assassinated for back home once I get back to the developer, because, you know, all these, you know, the first stuff that comes out almost always gets sort of iterated on and changed, and yeah, so we're trying to keep the lid on the details until we have something that's going to be really awesome to show.
All right, well, we'll be waiting for it, and we know with you involved, it's going to be something very special, fast-paced action, I have no doubt. So, new Painkiller coming soon from the team at Saber, published by Prime Matter. Thanks, Todd.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff.
Donc le premier jeu c'est fini.
I really
c'est bon?
can't wait to hear more about Painkiller and the fact that Todd and Tim and the team at Saber are working on it.
À voir, mais là pour le moment ça m'intéresse pas trop ce jeu-là, donc vous peut-être, mais moi.
So, you know, exciting stuff in that sizzle reel.
Moi je veux mon coup de cœur de cette 3, allez. Même si bon, on me dans Summer Game Fest, mais bon. C'est le 3, c'est le 3.
Actually, Prime Matter has 12 games.
Allez, arrêtez de parler là.
Right at this minute. We're so excited to show you guys what us and the developers have been up to.
Vas-y, montre-nous les jeux. On est tellement excités de vous montrer les jeux, mais montre-les. Ça fait même pas 10 minutes, je suis impatient de ouf. Allez.
So, please keep that in mind when you're viewing today's show. That being said, how do you guys feel about a psychedelic third-person survival horror game set on what it means to go on a journey about self-enlightenment and what happens when it all goes wrong? I got to speak with the developers of The Chant, work-in-progress title, about their game and who they are.
Arrêtez de parler.
Our game is about
Mais non, mais...
a group of people who go to a
Arrêtez de
spiritual
parler.
retreat to seek enlightenment.
Oh, c'est lent.
And they basically get a little more than they bargained for. And your character has to deal with her own personal issues as well as the cosmic terrors that
oh là
become
là, la
awakened.
Tribeca,
Cool. So,
la
what type
conf
of
Tribeca,
genre
elle
is
était
this game?
tellement plus
And it's a
dynamique.
bit hard to pin down with the with all the different influences and styles of gameplay, but I'd say we're probably a survival action horror game.
Okay. Cool. And what was the
Yeah,
thinking
survival
behind
action
that
horror
genre?
game.
Is it something that you
Ça m'a
guys
l'air d'être bien
like?
quand même, mais bon.
Or did
Allez,
is it just,
moi
it
je veux voir
came
des
left
images.
field? What's your decision behind that?
Personally, we always wanted to make a horror game. A big part of our core team
Par contre, lui, ça se voit qu'il a un
have a
studio.
background in third-person
C'est marrant.
sandbox games.
Tout le monde est dans son salon et il y a lui.
We really
Bienvenue
wanted to
dans mon fond noir.
combine,
J'ai une
action
lampe bleue qui
mechanics,
vient de la gauche.
deep
J'ai une lampe jaune
storytelling,
qui vient de la droite.
and, we felt that the horror genre was a really exciting space to take that background and play around with.
So, kind of sticking with the horror genre, why did you decide
Tout à
to go with
fait.
that theme? It's not really like normally what you would see, this whole spiritual awakening thing. So, what was the idea behind that?
We thought it was just kind of an interesting territory to explore. There is, there's a lot of influence from that with like folk horror of the 70s and giallo horror and so forth that really inspired us more from a film standpoint. And taking that kind of aesthetic, something that was very sensational, very colorful, and mixing it in with kind of more action-oriented.
Bon, allez, j'arrête de parler, dès qu'on a des images, on verra.
We felt was
Non, mais...
a fresh take on the
Allez,
horror space.
s'il vous plaît.
So, kind of speaking about your inspirations and stuff, what video games,
fait 12
real-life
minutes, là.
media has inspired you to create this title?
D'ailleurs, j'ai oublié de changer le nom du
way
stream.
back when
Attendez, je vais faire
Resident Evil 2 is one of my favorite games of all
Alors.
time. Alone in the Dark,
Koch
Total
Prime
Darkness.
Time.
So a lot of games are very inspirational to us. Our game actually started off as a game with fixed camera angles and so forth, and then we over the course of development,
21h.
just especially really focusing on bringing
Voilà,
more
j'ai
of
changé le
an
nom du
action
live.
element to it. We've since switched to an over-the-shoulder camera and haven't looked back.
So, kind of talking about changes and what you guys are doing on the development side, how close is the game to like the original concept? I understand you guys are still developing the game's quite far out, but from your original concept to where the game is now, how much has that differed?
Oh, ils sont pas mieux.
The core story and I'd say the aesthetic and the themes, those all remain intact. I'd say our gameplay, as our team size grew, we added deeper mechanics. I'd say more action to the game. Our game actually has a fair amount of combat in it, especially on the melee side. Those were things that weren't too prevalent in our original concept.
Je suis en train de penser là, le We Know Something You
A
Don't
lot of
Know.
those things are just kind of
Ouais,
based
bah ouais.
on, we're
Ouais.
a very small
Vous
team at
savez un
first.
truc
We're
qu'on sait
still
pas,
a
mais
relatively small team,
vous nous le
but,
dites pas, donc bon.
every new person that joins, brings something new to the mix. So I'd say on that end.
Allez, arrête de parler. C'est intéressant ce que tu dis, je sais, mais arrête.
Awesome. Kind of sticking on that point of, you got a small team, there's a lot of challenges that comes with that. What was the hardest part of making the game so far?
The hardest part was probably trying to make a game that has more realistic production values, because that's where our background comes from. On a smaller scale and budget. So for us, we had to be very strategic. Utilizing Unreal, we wouldn't have been able to build this game without utilizing an engine.
Bah du coup on a fini celui d'avant. Et là on est sur le Koch Prime Time, mais ils font que parler. Allez, mettez des trailers. On a eu des images de Kena, de sable, 12 minutes. C'est pas mal de petits jeux. Et là ça y est. Là on passe chez Koch Prime Time, on n'est plus à Tribeca. Qu'est-ce que c'est long. 15 minutes de blabla. Au secours.
really tapping
Sauvez-moi.
into the film and the effects industry and tapping into that area of expertise to, you know, to just kind of try to do things as efficiently as possible.
So you've mentioned like experience in the past and also kind of how rich Vancouver is. How much does that come in handy when you're working on the game?
Mais arrêtez de poser des
It's
questions.
extremely beneficial. Vancouver, you know, is home to a lot of AAA studios. A large portion of us work together at Rockstar and United Front Games.
Je regarde en même temps le live de Julien Chiez. Oh là là, le chat. 18 minutes de blabla, au secours. Ça peut passer à la radio, mais...
Smaller independent studios as well. And in addition to that,
non, mais c'est vrai.
Having the film industry here where we can utilize, you know, local talent.
Mais surtout qu'à 22h, il y a l'hygiène expo. Mais oui, on dirait une interview, c'est ça. Elle pose ses petites questions, elle fait « c'était quoi la partie la plus dure d'encoder un jeu ?» C'est intéressant, je dis pas. C'est super intéressant, mais c'est long, quoi. Surtout quand on a ça en nom de stream, quoi. Là, le We Know Something You Don't Know, ouais, bah... Ouais.
Awesome. Sounds great. In terms of
non, j'ai pas dit le N-word. Je ne l'ai pas dit. Tu n'arriveras pas à me le faire dire. Ne t'inquiète pas.
I think the thing I'm the most proud
J'aurais pas dû dire ça. Maintenant, il va essayer.
What a small, focused team can do when they're all, you know, sharing the same goal and vision. You know, as I said earlier,
vous savez quoi? Regardez.
Different backgrounds.
Regardez.
Everyone's managed to come together and really
faire un truc.
Deliver an amazing amount of work for the team size we have, and yeah, it's really exciting to be working on a smaller team again. And
on va couper le son de cette fenêtre là. Non, je joue pas du tout à Battle Right, moi.
Yeah, I imagine that is a lot different.
J'ai jamais essayé. Allez, tant qu'ils ont pas fini de parler, on joue à ça. Désolé pour le bruit de clavier, de souris. Sinon je vais faire. Voilà. C'est peut-être pire avec le touche du clavier.
It's truly an exciting place to be. We've been kind of pushing our game as far as we could, and this partnership is really
ah oui, mais non, au clavier, ça, c'est pas ouf.
Provide more reach and more resources, but I think most importantly also just having a partnership on getting feedback and helping to really expand and push the vision.
Sinon, au pire, je jouerai à des mineurs.
We've already received a lot of feedback.
Tant qu'ils continuent de parler, moi je fais ça.
Je
voulais savoir, c'était qui les personnes sardoches avec les PTNM? Aucune idée.
Even in a short period of time, we've been able to act on a lot of the feedback, and the game has improved considerably since then.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time. It's been
mais je sens que c'était un truc pour me faire ban. Genre, je sais pas pourquoi ça se sent.
And I can't wait to let gamers finally get their hands on
elle a fini?
So thank you for your time.
Merci pour votre temps, de rien.
From psychedelic horrors to internet rumors, our next developer created the huge open world of Bohemia and took us on an empire. However, there have been some leaks that this action
non, je connais pas le nom. Tu n'arriveras pas à me faire dire le mot.
Sat down with Warhorse Studios.
Ça de me piéger, je te vois, mais Dix.
Kingdom Come Deliverance on the Switch.
Kingdom Come, ok. Qui arrive sur
Yes,
Switch.
that's true. Kingdom Come Deliverance is coming to the Nintendo Switch. And as you said, it's about gamers, devs and games. In our case, or in this case, actually gamers play an integral part in the story.
What do you mean?
Well, some kind of confusion happened at the end of last year.
Vous aimez des mineurs?
We, Warhorse Studios, were preparing the release of the Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition on PlayStation.
On va aller sur Rocket League, ils vont pas
but
comprendre.
Someone
Attendez, faut pas que je me cache
ticked the wrong box in Japan, and it looked like it's going to be released on Switch as well. Of course, by that time there was nothing existing like that. We were not even thinking about the possibility.
On commence en facile et ensuite on passera en moyen puis en difficile. Et je ne sais plus jouer. C'est parti.
Japan.
Désolé pour le bruit de souris.
Some Japanese media, and then the snowball started rolling. All of a sudden, it was
tac,
the talk of the day. Kingdom Come Deliverance is releasing on the Switch, but as I said, nothing like that was planned at all, and we didn't even think about that. Now, a few months back, and we think it was still somehow cursing around in the Nintendo database. Nintendo of Spain posted a picture on Twitter where they had different pictures of open world games, and they were promoting already existing open world games on the Nintendo store. And if you clicked on the picture, actually you couldn't, there was nothing like Kingdom Come Deliverance, of course not, because as I said, nothing like that is existing. However, again, it created confusion. People were talking about it again, like, okay, so is it coming, is it not coming? But for us, actually, and as I said, we didn't think about that until that time. For us, we started to think there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of buzz, people are actually talking about us, reaching out to us, like they seem to want Kingdom Come Deliverance on the Nintendo Switch. So we started to think, and since we are already in the Koch Media family, or the Embracer family, and there's a lot of talented studios, so is Saber Interactive, and who but them would be actually capable of bringing the Kingdom Come Deliverance version on the Switch. So we sat together, and now we are here talking about the Nintendo Switch version on Kingdom Come.
So what you're saying is that a community of gamers made this happen?
More or less, yes. The community feedback we got, of course, was a big drive for this entire project. But this comes from our general background. So think of the Kickstarter project we had in the day. So without the community, there wouldn't be any Warhorse Studios or any Kingdom Come Deliverance. So we always try to be very close to them and working together with them, and even coming up with crazy ideas together with them. So, for instance, the Savior Schnapps, our own liquor we created later, was actually a community idea. We have our own beer brand. We recently released a blue brick set, like a building set for Kingdom Come Deliverance buildings.
Les PD,
and now one of the latest projects is the Kingdom Come Deliverance soap bar, which should give you the real medieval smell. In that case, I must say, it actually medieval smells actually pretty well. And we are coming up with crazy stuff like that all the time. Our next new merchandise product is a Farkle boxed board game, kind of. So Farkle, for those who don't know, that's like a Kingdom Come Deliverance minigame, a dice minigame you can play in the game. And now with Griffon Studios, we are coming up with a boxed version you can get and play Farkle at home against your friends or against your family or whatever. So that's pretty cool if you ask me. But generally, if you're interested in these kind of stuff, just check the Warhorse Studios social media accounts. You get all the information you need there.
My favorite. Soapy hot news. Speaking of soapy hot news, how do you feel about Warhorse being under the new label Prime Matter?
It's a huge honor, of course.
Non, c'est pas fini. Allez, on continue des
together with Koch for over 4 years already. In 2019, we then even became part of the entire Embracer family, so that was a big thing. And now being able to take part at the beginning of something new, be there when there's a new label being created, that is a big thing for us. And especially if you consider that we come there as an established partner already, that is really cool, and we are looking forward to a bright future.
Thank you very much, Toby. We cannot see what Warhorse has got cooking. However, until that time, Toby, goodbye!
So are we. Thank you very much, and see you.
From internet rumors back to reality, we will have Come Deliverance.
J'ai cru qu'elle avait dit au revoir en mode. Allez, c'est la fin.
All right, let's move from RPGs to FPS games. Final Form, which is a working title, is an action-packed sci-fi adventure where you play the role of a humanoid avatar of a sentient spaceship sent on a mission to the edge of the known universe to battle an unstoppable plague. The game is still a long ways from completion, but here's a very quick peek at what's in store.
C'est quoi ta question? Tu préfères boire un verre de vinaigrette ou boire une bouteille d'1 litre de vinaigre? Quoi? Oh, je te déteste. Non, c'est du vinaigre. C'est pas... Voilà. Non. Vas-y, tu sais quoi? Je vais arrêter de dire ce qui est écrit dans le chat. C'est Corse? Pas Chorus? Peut-être? Je te déteste. Mais non, mais... C'est quoi? C'est chorus? Du coup, attendez, je vais vous monter un peu.
Hi,
Voilà.
we are Raycon Games, and what you have just seen is the first glimpse of our upcoming game called named Final Form.
Final Form is an action-packed, epic sci-fi FPS in which you are a female-formed humanoid machine on a space mission with no return.
Je préfère Kristen Stewart ou Ruby Rose.
At the heart of the
Ah,
game is a
grosse
mystery
question,
and alien worlds to explore, but also an adrenaline-fueled combat. In Final Form, it's all about the freedom and power of movement, being a machine unrestrained by
être
human
Ruby Rose.
weaknesses. There are
Mais je
numerous
préfère
abilities and
connaître
gadgets that come with
Kristen
your robotic
Stewart.
body, so you can give
Voilà.
yourself away to the fantasy of becoming an unstoppable cybernetic goddess, blazing
Mais
away
ça,
in a
c'est une
spectacular
question
ballet
très
of
très
destruction.
Bon, allez, du coup, montrez-nous plus d'images, parce que là, on a eu un teaser de 30 secondes, même pas.
Raycon is located in Warsaw, Poland, with additional team members located all
qu'en plus,
over
il a
the
l'air
world.
bien.
The studio
C'est quoi
was
ce jeu?
founded and is managed entirely by
Par contre, lui, il
game
est fatigué, hein.
developers.
Oh là là.
Since the success of Ruiner, we've grown quite substantially. Currently, Raycon is over 50 brilliant game creators, and counting. We are not a huge team, but what we love to
Oh, il a
do
l'air
is
super
to
bien,
evolve
par contre, ce
together
jeu.
with our projects, constantly
C'est juste
finding
parce que ça parle
smarter
d'espace, je suis en
and
train de
better
réaliser.
ways to achieve something
Tout ce qui parle
truly
d'espace,
unique.
je trouve ça trop bien.
We build our work environment just like we make games, aiming for the best
Petit FPS,
results
ouais.
and personal fulfillment. We strongly believe that the well-being of team members needs to be taken care of first, before we can pour all of that love
Oh,
into
ça
a
va être
game.
un jeu coop? Attendez, si j'ai bien compris, il a dit
Partnership
team
with
members,
Koch Media
genre
has
les
been
membres
very
de l'équipe.
fruitful and inspiring. We're happy to be in the
Oh,
avant-garde
attendez.
of the upcoming new
Oh, c'est un
label.
moyen d'être un
We're
jeu de
looking
ouf, ça.
forward to share more on Final Form in the future. And in the meantime, please enjoy the rest of the show and
Ah, c'est
see
tout?
you around.
Oh non. Ok, codename Final Form. Je sais pas si c'est ça le nom du jeu, mais très bien. On verra la suite plus tard. Ok.
I have to say, guys, I love the soundtrack from Final Form. Moving on to our next game, which is just as special. What if you took Lovecraftian and Gagaris themes and mixed it all together with hardcore RPG elements? That's exactly what Massive Works Studios are doing. I got to sit down with their CTO to talk about their game, Dolmen.
Massive Work Studio Presents. Ok, toi on avait vu ta petite image dans le trailer de tout début. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Oh, ça a l'air bien. Oh, c'est un petit world premiere. Oula, on part dans du Agony. Ça ressemble à Returnal. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Très Returnal. Oups. Dolmen. Ok.
Let's speak now to Gabriel Ferreira, CTO of Massive Works Studios, who joins us now from Campinas near São Paulo in the southeast of Brazil. So, Gabriel, what is Dolmen about?
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here and to participate. Well, so let me tell a little bit about what Dolmen is. Dolmen is that kind of a game that where the hero needs to save everyone
Sors ton téléphone. Ouais, bah non, il est pas assez net.
Fighting with all kinds of monsters and struggling to keep going forward.
Attendez.
Yeah, that's the kind of game that's Dolmen
non, il est pas assez net, mais non.
In this game, you actually save the drillers, which is the alien species that live on that planet. But you're going there to help a company save its investment. So you're not really the nice guy that's trying to save everyone. It's just a job. But we hope that the players consider the humanity, the greed, the war, and the spares and the challenges that come to mind along with that job. taking all that part.
Ok, donc Dolmen, on va
And
s'en
yes,
souvenir.
Dolmen is also about
L'autre jeu d'avant,
fighting
là,
all
avec
kinds
son nom
of
de code, on va
monsters
aussi s'en
and
souvenir.
struggling. After all,
Ça va, il se rattrape.
it is a hard game. It's
Ils
a
ont fait 20
hardcore
minutes de
game.
blabla, mais ça va.
It's inspired on
Là, ça accélère un petit peu.
so yes, you're going to die a lot.
Awesome. Thank you. So, when thinking about the name Dolmen, obviously you guys went for that for like a very specific reason.
Ça reprend l'interview.
What's the thinking behind the name? Why did you go for Dolmen?
So
Okay.
there was many things that came to our mind when describing the name of the game. Dolmen, which means a single chamber tomb, a megalithic tomb. We thought it would be a good word to describe this stone, this crystal that we have that is related to that. In many ways, everyone that deals with this crystal in the game is close to bringing problems to everyone that is around. And we wanted it to be the main piece of the game.
Cool. Awesome. And now I know that people may or may not have heard of Dolmen before, so it is already out there in the world. But how long has it taken to get to this point?
Oh, it's been a long journey since the beginning of the project. We started at late 2016, so
ah oui, ça fait déjà 4 ans qu'ils sont dessus. Presque 5.
Probably,
ah oui.
Just a bit more to
ils doivent pas être beaucoup du coup, je pense.
But and about our journey, if it wasn't the support that we had,
ou bien peut-être qu'ils ont fait beaucoup de transitions sur Unreal.
Either our community, the Kickstarters, and
il y a eu un Kickstarter. Ok, oui, ça doit être un petit studio indé.
Right now.
Lovely. How have you been inspired by other games? You mentioned like the Souls-like obviously inspires it. You know, are there other games that inspire you? And also, what games do the teams like?
First of all, regarding inspirations, a lot of games came to us when we were producing the game and when we were first thinking of it. Obviously, we are really passionate and we really love Souls-like games, so Bloodborne, Dark Souls, those games were our main inspirations.
Ouais, donc des jeux qui font penser après à Returnal, vu que c'est un petit peu dans l'univers de Dark Souls.
All different kind of sources. So we had inspirations in Dead Space, in Mass Effect.
Bien sûr, Mass Effect, Dead Space. Bah, justement, là j'ai vu Mass quelque chose, je me suis dit, ah, mais non.
In other games, but also
c'est des bons classiques, ça. Hein.
Movies and
j'ai peur de jouer à Dead Space, mais c'est des bons classiques.
For example, Alien and Geiger, and those were main inspirations. About games that
donc ça va bien être un petit peu horreur.
Our team likes.
Je pense qu'il va beaucoup ressembler à Returnal.
We have a team that ranges from liking Dota to CS and Souls-like games. But what I can really tell you is that
Dota,
every one of our team is passionate about the project because they love doing what they do, which is a hardcore game.
Yeah, and that makes sense as well when you get hands on Dolmen, all these
Bien sûr, on espère revoir nous Mass Effect 5.
So the game is set in a sci-fi universe. Is there any specific reason you decided to go down that route?
De toute façon, Mass Effect 5, ça sera pas là, that you considered at first?
Yeah. Well,
ça sera pendant une conférence
Electronic Arts. What they don't know, and the universe has infinite possibilities. There is always something
ça, c'est clairement un des jeux
dont je me souviens.
Est-ce qu'on a des dates pour Electronic Arts
sci-fi setting really
E3 machin,
was something that we could use to throw everything that our insane minds could come with.
Electronic Arts ont décidé de faire bande à part, pareil pour Sega, Activision Blizzard,
the player
Bandai Namco,
a world of unknown that he can fear and he can
figure pas dans la liste des participants.
No,
Square Enix et Bandai Namco, ils ont quand même leur conférence.
On the point of humans.
D'ailleurs, on la regardera.
You guys are based in Brazil, which is awesome. Are there any specific challenges that you
dimanche 21h15 pour Square Enix
et
mardi 23h25 Bandai Namco. Sera là, bien sûr. Allez, vous savez quoi? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Ce serait pas un retour de l'interview?
21 was a really challenge
Par
for
pur
us.
hasard, ça serait pas un retour de
But it
l'interview?
was something that we could adapt well,
Hop là.
especially because even that we're based in Brazil,
C'est pas
we're
du
not
tout cette
only
musique,
based
mais
in
bon,
a
j'ai
single
la
location in
musique de
Brazil.
Tetris,
We have people spread across the country. So it was easy enough to overcome that challenge. But there were several challenges since getting development kits and finding people that are really capable of helping us to deliver this amazing game, and that's what we gathered, and that's
je sais pas vous, mais
something that
ce jeu il
our
m'intéresse, mais bon, il parle un petit peu trop, quoi.
appreciates the most and really gives value.
Je pense que ce sera le principal problème de ce Koch Presents. Non, c'est pas ça, c'est Koch quoi?
Absolutely,
Ça s'appelle comment déjà? J'ai oublié.
Kind of
Koch
on
Prime
that
Time, c'est ça.
theme of development and challenges. Given how development and technology often dictates how a game evolves throughout its development, how kind of close are you to the original concept that you guys came up for Dolmen?
Well, there are different point of views on that answer, especially because we started really small in the journey of the game. For example, it started as a concept from a few friends that get together and they brainstormed it for months, the game. So it diverged in two senses, and one of them, when we first started the game is huge and is insane and has a lot of background on it. It has all this universe around it. So a lot of it has been built. So people that loves lore and loves the universe that we are creating, they will have a lot to explore on that side. But the game and from its original concept evolved a lot, especially now that we have more tools at our disposal. So on the tech side,
je galère tellement là dans des mineurs.
It advanced way better than we imagined.
Pourquoi je galère autant?
Back 2016, we
Peut-être
didn't
parce que
have
je fais autre chose en
all
même
the
temps, c'est
resources
vrai.
that we have now.
On n'en parle pas assez.
Of course, we made some sacrifices here and there and in order to achieve our goal. But
allez, objectif moins de 200 secondes.
We were never happy with satisfied that point of satisfaction, you know. We want to reach more. At the end of the day, this is also a game and we are having fun, but on top of all, we want to make a brilliant game for the player.
Absolutely. And speaking about like making the game and the development of the game, seeing as you are lead programmer as well, what was the hardest part of making the actual game?
I believe
encore une fois, quelle a été la partie la plus dure pour faire ce jeu? Elle pose la même question à tout le monde.
Different options, especially for example, we could have wanted to make a game that was simpler or smaller or not have that many hours of gameplay.
C'est long. C'est très très long. Et là je suis bête parce qu'il y avait pris 3.
Even that's a first game of our company, so we decided to go full in into that challenge. We faced a lot of challenges, as I mentioned previously, but I believe the hardest part of the game was finding the correct professionals and focusing on what we were doing, and you know, keeping yourself focused for 5 years on a single game is something that is challenging for everyone, especially right now.
Là on a ça, non,
so
ça
it was a difficult decision, but we wanted to make that.
Ok, 4-3, là on a tout l'escalier qui reste.
And as a programmer, there's a lot of that I could keep talking about what is the hardest. Multiplayer is always challenging, but finding that balancing fit, so the game that is not unfair.
Et je suis trop nul.
Is hard.
J'ai une chance sur 2.
So we wanted to
allez, moins de 200 secondes.
Players, so this was really something that was hard.
4.
So you mentioned like 5 years of development, which is a crazy long time. How have you kept yourself motivated? How have the team kept themselves motivated?
C'est marrant de voir à quel point il y a une partie des boîtes qui savent faire de super belles conférences, qui sont dynamiques et tout. On a vu ça avec l'annonce de la PS5. Cette conférence était folle l'année dernière. Tellement de rythme, on a tout eu. On a eu du Horizon, on a eu la PS5, je crois qu'on avait eu le God of War 2, le teaser. On avait tout eu. Et là, on a eu Kena, on a eu Stray, on en a eu tellement. Et là, on a une interview, quoi. Je trouve ça drôle. Ouais. Super, on a bien parlé, quoi. Intéressant, hein. Je dis pas, mais bon. Oh, ça me tue à chaque fois. Tac, allez.
Absolutely, I feel like everyone's missing that event feeling,
Tac, ça va
right? When you
forcément
actually
être sur un
get
de
to
ces
see
deux-là.
people on the
1, 2,
games
3.
and you're like, oh wow, everyone's
Super.
loving the games. I think it's something that everyone is missing, definitely. Speaking of kind of
bon, t'as fini de
motivation
parler,
and happy
j'ai oublié ton
times,
prénom.
what are you most proud of this
Non.
game? What have you guys worked on that you're like,
Elle a
yeah,
pas
we
fini.
did that?
De quoi êtes-vous le plus fier dans le jeu? L'univers qu'ils ont créé, très bien. J'ai vraiment le jeu. Moi, il me tentait. Genre, il ressemblait à Returnal. Je me suis dit, ah tiens, j'ai pas la PS5, j'ai pas pu jouer à Returnal. Pourtant, il me tentait et tout. Je me suis toujours pas spoil. J'espère pouvoir y jouer. Donc là, ce jeu qui ressemble, bon, peut-être que. Sauf qu'ils ont trop parlé. Donc j'ai plus tant envie que ça, en fait. C'est un petit peu dommage. Ça y est, je m'ennuie en fait. Enfin, ça marre en 2 minutes quoi. Sauf que là, on est à 40 minutes de cette conférence. Et ça parle encore quoi. C'est super, hein. Ça, je vais pas tenter. Là, il m'en manque 2, il m'en manque 2. Donc toi, t'en es forcément un. Ça ne m'aide pas. Je pense que c'est lui. Ok. 4, 3, 2, on est bon. Ici, on fait le petit contour. Donc là, on a 2, on a 2, on a 2. On a 3, c'est déjà ces 3-là. On a 2 ici, on a 2. 3, toi, c'est bon. On a ça, donc là, vous 4. Vous 4 là, du coup on a 3, voilà, ce coin là il est totalement fait de mines. Toi aussi, super, ça nous débloque toute la nuit. On s'améliorerait pas un petit peu là? Oula, par contre on est à 100 secondes. Peut-être essayer de booster un petit peu. 3, 2, donc toi t'en es un. Ça m'aide pas. Ouf, oh le coup de chance. Ça c'était du hasard. Toi par contre, toi je sais du coup. 2, 1. 1. 3, si les 3 là le sont, ça veut dire ça. 2, 3. Tac, le coin. Bim bam. Boum. Ça fait pchit et ça fait vroom. Je viens de vous mettre une musique dans la tête. Et ça m'énerve parce que du coup je l'ai aussi dans la tête. Ah, je crois qu'elle a fini son interview. Ah, attendez, je crois qu'elle a fini. See you later. C'est bon? T'as fini de parler?
First title from Prime Matter will be the beautiful, highly anticipated King's Bounty 2. We have
King's Bounty 2.
And then Opal got a chance to sit down and talk with CEO Nikolai Baryshnikov.
Ok, le patron.
The balance is off.
C'est long, hein. On a eu 3-4 jeux là, 40 minutes.
Our land, Nostria, dances on the knife's edge of fate. King Claudius, my father, cannot lead, and his absence has set the realm in motion.
Ah si.
Something is coming. Now the burden of the crown falls onto me. Nostria was flourishing, but there is unrest.
It used to be beautiful here. My wife and I had a nice life then.
Conspiracy, sabotage, necromancy, they all threaten this land asunder. but we must unite, for distorted terrors are advancing. Rumors tell of a false prophet, putting our hope in something that does not exist.
Encore une fois, c'est pas mon truc. Ah, cette conférence, qu'est-ce qu'elle était bien. Ah, je vais m'en souvenir. Hein. Ah, la rediff va être drôle. La rediff, la moitié de la rediff, ça va être que moi sur des mineurs ou Tetris.
And preserve the light of our land. For Nostria.
Ok, King's Bounty 2. Ça m'a donné faim. Les Bounty. Ah, pas sur Next Gen.
Thanks for joining me.
Pas sur Series X ni PS5.
I'm joined by Nikolai Barinshnikov from 1C Entertainment, who is CEO and creator of King's Bounty 2. So King's Bounty has been years in development and has a 30-year pedigree. So what is it that makes King's Bounty 2
regardez-moi ça.
so
Et même les Russes.
The original King's Bounty was
Oula.
the grandfather of games
Oula,
like
toi t'es sur Teams et puis t'as mis un fou.
Heroes of Might and Magic. So it created this turn-based gameplay when you have a
oh là là, ça y est, regardez-moi ce chat.
and the troops are moving in turns. You know, like chess pieces on the board. So I think that's the key.
Resident Sleeper.
Of King's Bounty.
Oh là là,
Absolutely.
tout le monde
Speaking
s'endort.
about that, and I know as you mentioned, the first King's Bounties was 1990, and then you had the King's Bounty that you guys created in the 2000s. What technical improvements now that we're in 2021 are you most excited about implementing into the new King's Bounty 2?
Genre ils nous ont teasé longtemps à l'avance. Et non. En fait non. Genre vraiment ils ont commencé leur stream un mois à l'avance je crois.
Previous games, the battlefield was always a flat surface. So now we're bringing the battlefield into 3D. So we will have, line of sights, hills.
Après avoir, hein, c'était bien, mais bon. Ce trailer, il m'a un petit peu, voilà.
So moving the battlefield to 3D is a huge step forward. And then the whole role-playing part, the exploration part, we decided to move more towards games like
moi qui m'attendais à une 3 dynamique, genre allez, on commence, c'est Summer Game Fest, mais je dis E3, hein. On dit allez, le départ il va être explosif, et non. Il faudra attendre. On attendra la Xbox ou la Ubisoft. On a quoi demain? Je mets ça en face. Tac, il faut retirer tous ces petits trucs. Ok, donc ça c'est fait. Non. Ouais, bon.
So speaking of the other King's Bounty games, will this King's Bounty 2
ça, on vient de le
follow
faire
the
juste
other
avant,
stories of the games, or will it be a standalone
ça,
title?
bah on y est quoi.
No, the game will not follow on,
ça peut-être que je vais le faire, ça va dépendre si je me suis pas encore endormi.
Even the previous King's Bounty, they all sort of like disconnected.
Et demain on a Ubisoft Forward à 21h, j'espère qu'on aura des trucs bien sur Far Cry, sur peut-être un Assassin's Creed, peut-être des infos cool, on verra bien. Puis Devolver, je les connais à travers quoi moi Devolver? Je les connais à travers à travers Talos Principe, je crois. Je suis pas sûr, attendez. Ils ont sorti quoi comme jeu? Ils ont édité beaucoup de jeux.
Towards an epic RPG. However, this is a rare combination where our game King's Bounty is not an action RPG. It's not a Witcher game where you have to press buttons on joysticks and battle.
Bon jeu, ça règne, mais jeu mobile quoi.
It's interesting crossbreed of a high fantasy role-playing game with a tactical strategy title, which. I wouldn't. It's not like quote unquote was never done on console.
Ouais, on va s'endormir aussi demain. Fall Guys, ça y est, il y a moyen d'avoir des trucs bien avec. Même si je joue pas à Fall Guys, il y a moyen d'avoir des trucs pas trop mal. Et oui, Talos Principe. Oh quoi? Ils ont prévu un Talos Principe 2? Pro-Team a prévu un Non.
Reinvented XCOM. This is something we're trying to achieve with King's Bounty. Really make a modern game that works well on modern platforms, that works well with
comment je fais pour pas le voir?
Understanding of gamers, how a game should look like. So
Non, c'est pas
We're trying
possible, on le voit qu'une
to
seule fois.
enhance it in every possible direction.
Yeah, cool, awesome. Kind of speaking about the story of King's Bounty 2 and how it differs, it appears to have a darker, more gritty aesthetic compared to its predecessors. What was the design philosophy around that? Why did you decide to go with that instead?
That's an interesting question. We've been debating on the design approach. And again, as I said, we spent a lot of time prototyping, working on the core gameplay and the looks and the art of the game. Previous game had this more cartoonish, kind of fancy indie look, but we decided we are now trying to play in different league. We're trying to make a much bigger title, a big game, an epic adventure. We've been astonished by modern fantasy titles both in Hollywood and in games, and we thought that this is a good idea actually to upgrade King's Bounty to what we call like high fantasy or like realistic fantasy. So it's not a dark fantasy like Kingdom Come when very peasants, everything is bad.
J'espère qu'on aura du
it's more like, as I said, like high fantasy, epic characters. It is
a dragon, it looks like a dragon, not like a toy. It is a villain. C'est triste, genre ah bah voilà, on est passé sous la barre des 6000.
That was the main philosophy.
Les gens s'endorment tellement
game development evolves. And I don't think that it's a good idea to take a game of 2008 and just make replica with slightly enhanced graphics in 2021. So you need, especially for consoles, there's specific
c'est franchement triste parce que vraiment, Koch Prime, je m'attendais à mieux quoi. On s'endort. Il y a des trucs bien, mais on s'endort. J'ai déjà oublié le nom des jeux qui m'intéressaient.
Yeah, so we've mentioned that this game combines different kind of like ways that you can play the game, basically, from third-person RPG elements to this unique fighting system, this kind of chess-like fighting system. Kind of, why did you choose, with the evolution of game design and how people play games, why did you choose to stick to these hybrid game mechanics? Do you think that this is kind of what makes King's Bounty?
Ouais, donc demain on va s'endormir.
Absolutely. I think you got it spot on, so I don't even need to answer. King's Bounty is again is a grandfather of turn-based games. So if you remove tactical combat from King's Bounty, then it becomes, I don't know, Mass Effect or Kingdom Come. So this is so we can play around with
Mass Effect et Kingdom Come, oui.
Gameplay,
quoi?
More fun or realistic, but obviously
il a dit Mass
this
Effect.
is the core. So this is a tactical game with a lot of role-playing aspects and high fantasy aspects, and not the other way around. So again, gamers who like RPG with shooting elements, games like Cyberpunk, this King's Bounty is probably not for them. I'm sorry, it's a different game.
Yeah, and in terms of we've mentioned kind of this new 3D world that you're creating when it comes to the fighting style, and then these RPG mechanics and making this world feel more alive and more exciting. What was actually the hardest part of you making the game? What took the longest time? What kind of caused you the most headaches?
Hard to say. First of all, this multiple platform game, so there are specific technical issues that prolong the development. If you make just, let's say, a PC title or just a PlayStation game, then you are not having a headache of porting to different platforms, getting different specifications, TCRs, approvals. That adds a lot. And then secondly, the production itself, as soon as we went away from this kind of cartoonish, easy looking isometric view into a 3D high fantasy and the production of assets. So we wanted to build like a huge map. We wanted to populate this map with a lot of characters that would just move around, go somewhere, have their own like stories. Then we decided to instead of having like 10 styles, we decided to produce a lot of engine-based cutscenes to push the story, to explain what's going on. So we even had to buy our motion capture studio. We worked with like dozens of actors, and there are hours and hours and hours
Oh, j'y crois pas en pleine conférence.
In-game based cutscenes.
En pleine conférence, je suis obligée de me mettre comme ça.
In the past, could be just dialogues.
Ah non, mais quand on se met en...
That was another huge complication.
No, absolutely. And then the final question, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch and being on their brand new gaming label?
Ah non, je suis obligée de le mettre en plein écran, genre.
A lot of additional support.
Because,
I'm not sure that all gamers understand how games get to the market. So making a game, writing pieces of code, or drawing this amazing sketch of a dragon. Is only half of the puzzle.
Vous l'agrandir un petit peu.
You need a lot of support
je vais le mettre
from production people, testing, localization, manufacturing, retail units, putting all these units into the retail shops in the world. Making mass market communications. So we decided to cooperate with Koch Media, that seems to be the ideal partner. So we are on the market for many years.
Petit instant budget web parce qu'on s'ennuie franchement.
I would say very honestly, I was personally a bit scared if we do it just ourselves, that we might not have the human resources to deliver,
oui, vous ne rêvez pas, c'est un Candy Crush Live. Tout à fait. C'est un bon jeu. C'est bien pour attendre. Tout ça ici, ça là, ça. Toi d'abord comme ça, ensuite
that's
comme
it.
ça.
Thank you so much for your time, Nikolai. And I cannot wait for
merci
people
pour
to get
ton
their
temps,
hands on
Nikolai.
Kings too.
Oh, me too. Trust me, me too. After 2 years
Je vais même pas avoir le temps de finir ma game de Bejeweled.
The most exciting days for me in 2021.
Bejeweled.
We have 12 titles. We keep saying it. And honestly, I shouldn't have a favorite. It's like picking
On a
between
12
a
titres,
favorite
oui, ben on
child.
va les voir vos 12 titres.
However, this next title speaks to me on a gaming level unlike any other. This third-person action-adventure shooter will keep you up at night tossing and turning with its horrific, nightmarish creatures. Think Alice in Wonderland meets Alien, or as one US journalist put it,
comme si Alice au Pays des Merveilles rencontrait Alien. Ben ça va être Alice le jeu.
Sit back,
c'est
relax,
de eux Alice.
grab a pillow, because you get a world-exclusive look at Scars Above.
Sky machin beurre. Oh, ça me fait tellement penser à The Turing Test. Oh, attendez. Alors ça, par contre, ça va me plaire. Ok, on arrête avec Bejeweled. On est sérieux. Let's go. Oh, ça par contre, ça, je vais adorer.
Telemetry check.
Telemetry check. We're go.
Hein, quoi? C'était quoi cette transition là?
Wow. How is this possible? What planet is this? How did
On est sur du Tomb Raider. Pourquoi elle nous a parlé d'Alice au Pays des Merveilles mêlée avec Alien? C'est du Tomb Raider en fait. Tomb Raider qui est mélangé à Returnal.
Log entry. The gate has an internal conduction
J'aime un peu trop les Returnal, je
The
pense.
3 points on the rim seem sensitive. A targeted blast of electricity should cause a reaction.
Oui, c'est totalement du Tomb Raider.
The debris. It's from Hermes. It must have splintered off as it entered the atmosphere.
Vera, très bien. Nervé au target, très bien. Donc c'est une arme.
It's still intact.
Oui, c'est ça, c'est du Returnal mélangé à du Tomb Raider. Qu'est-ce qu'ils disent le chat? Je ne comprends rien au chat, mais très bien. Ok, donc il y a des options d'accessibilité, bon. C'est normal, ça s'appelle Kate. Plusieurs emplacements d'armes, on en a, j'ai pas compté, 6, 7, 6.
Log entry. The creature has multiple salivary glands in its thoracic region that seem to produce a highly venomous secretion.
On voit qu'on a pas beaucoup de balles. Hein. En bas, on a plusieurs emplacements. Ouais. Ouais. On va lui mettre un truc par contre. Lui, ça, c'est peut-être le bon truc.
Looks like Robinson managed to connect the MPU to the pillar.
Oula. Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Dead game mort.
This will help me get through that tissue webbing. And I'm taking the MPU.
Bon, déjà actualise vite fait, vite. Voilà. Sur la qualité. Parce que si on a des prises, ça va pas le faire. Bienvenue dans StarCraft. Ok. Ça c'est typical ce qui va me plaire. Par contre, vraiment. Enfin un truc bien dans cette conf. Non, en vrai cette conf est bien, mais ils parlent trop quoi. Ils annoncent des beaux trucs. C'est marrant 2 minutes quoi. Mais bon, bah on est déjà à 1 heure. On va faire un temps qui vienne du coup.
This thing was huge.
Et vous savez quoi? Ça c'est bien malin. Je vais le garder de côté. Mais je vais vous mettre ça. Ok? C'est ça là. Hygiène Expo Livestream. On se met ça? On se met ça. Tac. Tac. Et je vous en parle si jamais on a d'autres petites infos. Ça vous va? Enfin, comme ça, bon, c'est marrant de minutes.